Hi guys, welcome back to Kpop Talks. I'm your host. Today we're doing a new video after, I don't know, months probably of, after a month of not doing anything, which is gonna be the weekly, at this point, monthly Kpop recap of January 2023. There wasn't a lot of music, there was like around 30-ish songs, and instead of just doing the best and the worst, I'm just gonna compile them all in this video, and then for February I'll do the best and the worst of the month, because there's much more songs to talk about. So let's get right into it. First is Genius with Voyage. Genius is a group that I discovered very recently. I have to say, I think this is their debut, if I'm not mistaken. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a solid song, very third generation, old schooler vibes type of music, and I think they did a very good job at it personally, in terms of like really holding it down in terms of quality of music, in terms of also vocally and production wise. They didn't go with the classic newer gen stuff, and they kept it very simple, and I think they delivered with one of the more like interesting songs, definitely from the younger groups, that doesn't necessarily try to copy others and tries to be a little bit different. Next is Rise with Love 11119. This is their more NCT track out of the stuff they released until now. It's good. I really enjoyed it. It's a little bit more laid back. Again, they did something completely different again. It's clear that they want Rise to be more of like a Red Velvet / FX type of group where, you know, they have their style, they have something that really makes them unique, but they're not necessarily trying to go for the super mainstream, at least for now. Maybe in a year or two we'll have a different discussion, but I think this song is very good, and again I think it follows exactly what they've been going for in terms of quality, in terms of consistency, just good music, doing something different every single time that showcases a different aspect of the group, and because it's the start of their career they can really afford to do that as of now. Next, another SM artist, Mino with Stay for a Night. I mean, it's just a solid R&B song, in my opinion, with decent vocals by him. There isn't much to say, it's an okay song for me. Next is Lee Chang-hyuk with 1 Trillion. I mean, Lee Chang is being one of the most interesting artists in Korea. I really love this revisitation of this very 90s Korean music type of like pop music that was going on at the time, aesthetic. As always, the vocals are there. The ideas are very clear, and the lyrics are always very interesting. You know, he's not the type of artist who's just gonna come back and do very simple things. He'll try to push the ideas forward. He's very eclectic and very polyedric. He'll do a million different type of things, and I think he does them pretty good every single time. So I think this is another example of him delivering a very interesting concept while doing it in a very different way, without being like corny, where there's other artists where sometimes they can fall into the line of just being an aesthetic and not really having any sort of substance behind it. He's not falling into the trap yet, I think, which is good for him. Next we have I Chilling with Bite Me. Overall a solid track by I Chilling. I think they've had a pretty good run, as I've said, even last year, so I'm happy they're gonna go into that same level of quality into this year as well. Solid track, nothing special about it, but it's right, I think, there with the other stuff they've done, which is pretty solid overall. Next we have B1A4 with Rewind. Just another massive class, I think, of K-pop. Again, the maturity of this group has been incredible, and the growth. I think if you look at where B1A4 were before their original stop and hiatus, so where they are now, they're a completely different group. They've grown so much. They became true artists in a strict sense of the word. They know exactly how to I think, do what they're doing at the level they are consistently, and they do it super good. I mean, there's much to say in my opinion. Like, they are really, really good, and they have been very, very good for a very long time. So to see them consistently make quality music and bring these very interesting concepts into K-pop with this level of vocals, this level of production, it's very rare, and I think it's a showcase of how much liberty they have at this point in their career, where other groups, I think, at this point, if they were younger, they would be much more restricted to follow one specific concept to sell more. So I really enjoy it, and I think it's, again, vocally, chorus wise, production wise, everything is so unique and it's so perfect to who they are, and it showcases the maturity. It's very rare, I think, to see in the genre. In fact, you probably see that like maybe other 2 times really. Next we have ITZY with Untouchable. I think it's a pretty good song by ITZY. Like I've said, I think that this second part of their career has been very good. I know fans disagree for the most part, but I really don't care. I I think they've been making much better music, and I think this song is a showcase of that. It's much better than what they've done in the past, and it's much more consistent. And I think even vocal, you can hear they're clearly more comfortable, more. I would say not only comfortable, they're also um, more confident, and I think you can hear it vocally when where they are. Next we have SF9 with Bibora. I'm really happy that SF9 is back making normal music again after a long time of them just making very gimmicky songs. It's solid. I think it's definitely more interesting and more fun, very third generation ish, which is what they are at the end of the day. And I really like the vocals in here. They're good. They're not overly pitched. They're not trying to do some crazy like vocal stuff if they can't. They're very controlled, and I think they deliver what they're supposed to do very well. And so I like the vibes. I like the simple production, and I like the more laid back and like cooler vibes they're trying to go for. And I think they really nailed it, in my opinion. There's a Bounding Tiger with Biburi, Pigeon and Plastic. I think it's called also in English. It's very fun. It's definitely one of the more fun eclectic songs I've heard this year. I think the addition of Sogum was very good for them. It brought a different layer to the track and to them as a group overall. So I really enjoy it. I think it's super fun. It's so weird that I know the average K-pop fan is not gonna really enjoy it, but I think give it a try. You're probably gonna like it more than you think. Next we have Amber Lee with Dusk Till Dawn. I really like this. I mean, like I said, Amber is a very fun artist, and she's somebody that is consistently pushing herself forward. I like the music video, I like the vocals, which again, I think she was always a very underrated singer. And the production is very much like what she's done. She's been a solo artist, and I think vocally, I think the message is very interesting as well. It's an adult message. It's, I think, kind of outside, I think, of the understanding of most younger fans, because they tend to see things too much, I think, black and white, where like in his music video, like with the song and the lyrics, it's obviously meant to be more gray, right? Not everything is as easy as it seems, but I think it's a great song, and I think again, Amber does a great job delivering one of the more fun tracks of the year. Next we have Vienna with Good Morning. I mean, I think she's the only successful Korean artist who has done this like more pop rock stuff well, and she's doing it even with this track, in my opinion. Vocally, she's there. Production-wise, they're doing the right things. I mean, I really like it. I think it works, and I think it's definitely better than what other artists have tried to do in the same sphere, in the same genre, and I think failing consistently at it. Next we have Triple S Aria with Door. Just a vocal showcase really of the girls. It's a different song in terms of feel and aesthetic. It's more laid back, it's more of a ballad, and he does a great job just showcasing how good they can sing, again, without overly going over the top with the notes and try to do stuff that it's out of there for no reason. And they just deliver, I think, a very enjoyable track to listen to, in my opinion. Next we have Hui with Mbop. One thing I have to say about Cube is that they consistently nail these like main guy in the group that can kind of do everything well and kind of be a soloist. If, like, at least they have always one for every group, you know, and I think Hui is that guy. The song is fun. I didn't expect him to do something like this, and I think that's good. He brought something a little bit different. The song is doing great. I mean, 20 million views for an artist that, and for a group that hasn't been on the top of the lists of the charts for a very long time, but he's very, very good, and I think aesthetically brings another element to the track that showcases versatility. He can sing very well, obviously he has personality, and he understands his voice very well, so he doesn't actually put himself in these predicaments where he's trying to do something too much. Instead, he delivers a very enjoyable track front to back, which is what you want at the end of the day. Next we have Sister 19 with No More My Boy. I mean, who does it still like them? It's crazy to me that after all these years nobody's doing this type of concepts, you know, and it should be actually the opposite. Remember how fans will tell you that now it's much better than what it was in the past, but yet you see less of this variety because, like I said, I think there's a huge problem with infantilizing idols even though they're in their 20s, 30s. Think how many idols still think a lot of these like females, for example, or males in these groups are like kids when they're like in their mid-20s or 30s, you know, sometimes like they much more than many more than they think, definitely. But I think, I mean, it's just a great song, great vocals, simple production, does what it's supposed to do, and it's groovy, which is what you want. But I mean, how come nobody does this? Because I think fans wouldn't want that to be the case. So, you know, so it's funny to me say they want adults seeing that, but if you just go look at the groups, specifically a lot of the like very successful groups, just look at Twice, for example. I mean, a lot of these girls, let's say, are closer to 30 than 20. Okay, let's just say it that way. Okay, for people to understand. Next is Jamie featuring Johnny with So Bad. I mean, this is his best release since he has been signed. I don't know if it was AMG or Higher Music, I don't remember. But it's his best track by far. I think vocally he's there, the lyrics are decent, the production is okay, but he does a better job than he did until that point, in my opinion. So, yeah, it's a solid track overall. Obviously, you know, Johnny is a very good singer, so he adds an element to it that it's much better. But yeah, Jimin is that just not that good of an artist, in my opinion. They signed him too early. They didn't allow him to really like improve in the underground scene, and when they signed him to a bigger deal, they realized he wasn't that guy, you know. But it is what it is. Next is Meanwhile featuring Lala Martz with Talk Tomorrow. I didn't know Lala Martz was that good of a singer. Is actually pretty good. They fit with each other very good. It's a good, like I said, I think Meanwhile's abilities, main abilities, like she can feature with anybody and always deliver something good. I know she's been acting a little bit weird, and like I said, finally she has joined AUMG as everybody thought she was going to. She did act a little bit weird for some time as recently in terms of commitments and stuff like that, but I think if she just wants to focus on music, that's what she should be doing, in my opinion. But apart from that, I think the outside stuff, I think she has always been a pretty solid artist, and she's definitely more interesting than people think, and she's more talented, I think people give her credit for, outside of the memes and everything else. I assume they're called Demon, and the song's called Burn Up. I mean, this group really reminds me of early Icon. That's not a bad thing. I think they do it good. They have a lot of personality on the track. They go hard. Again, you don't really have a lot of these groups coming this hard on this type of production, and actually aesthetically even kind of being outside of that mold of what you would expect from more classic boy groups. But yeah, aesthetically they're more of that style, and I think they do a good job doing it. Definitely you want to see something different, but I really enjoyed it. I think it's a solid track overall, and go check them out. I think they could be interesting to see in the future. And talking about Demon, I really like the fact that their debut actually is very different than their pre-debut, you know, go with a different vibe. It's still aesthetically similar, you know, but with Spark they've tried something completely different in terms of actually vibes and everything, with still having a hard-hitting chorus and, you know, these really heavy basses and stuff like that. So it's good to actually bring that type of like duality while still being pretty much who you are and close to who you are. And I think even the hip hop parts are very different, the rapping parts are very different from what you hear from other groups where they tend to be very systematic. Here a little bit, they're a little bit different in that sense. And yeah, it's a pretty solid song. Again, go check them out because they're pretty interesting. G.I. Wood Wife. I mean, I don't like this song, obviously. It's definitely better than the stuff they've been doing recently. It's more fun, it's less serious in a way. I just don't like that production. I just think it's all over the place, and the girls don't do a good enough job, I think, to like bring the best out of a production like this. Probably my favorite part of this song is actually the chorus, because it's that dumb, but every other aspect of the song I don't really care about, actually. We have IU with Love Wins All. I mean, it's just a classic IU ballad and everything. So very smart from her to get V, because that boosted the level of the popularity of this song that she knows otherwise she was not gonna get. So you get a very famous idol, you put him on a song, and everybody talks about that and not about the song, which is what you want. They had to change the name of the song because apparently it was controversial for whatever reason. But yeah, I mean, it's not surprising you get V and I on a track, it's gonna get popular. I mean, but it's a decent track. Limelight with Tada. It's a very fun song, obviously, very G Idol. Very certain type of Oh My Girl, I would say, even G-Friend in certain aspects. I think it's good. It's definitely again, like I said, what we need, a little bit of different stuff. Not everybody doing the exact same thing over and over again, and they really do that well, much better than I think the majority of groups we tend to, you know, see in this industry right now, where everybody's kind of being the same. Even though, like I said last year, there was more diversity. Hopefully, it follows through this year. Next, we have TWS with Plot Twist. Pretty solid song by the group. I wouldn't say there's nothing really that impresses me here personally. It's very standard. I would say play this music boy group. I would say in every aspect. They're definitely trying to go with a more of a fun and younger concept, obviously, and I think musically that fits them. I just want to see them do something either like what 17 used to do, which is very fun and very like over the top like early on, or you go the more rise situation where you're not that but you still have that same feel, or even a more recent NCT Dream. But when you try to be in the middle, I think it doesn't really work as much, as far as I'm concerned. Next have Yu-Gi-Oh! With Last Soul Me. I really like this song. I think this really fits him good. This is more R&B kind of like vibe to it. I think it's really good to him, and I think it really I think it fits him very good aesthetically. So I want to see him do more of this stuff again in the future, and push on that type of button, and kind of leave the more like mainstream sound to the past, to when he does more group stuff, and focus on his own personal style when he does this type of things, because they really work well with him, with his voice and his talents, in my opinion. Ab 6 with Grab Me. I think it's a solid song by Ab 6. I wouldn't say that really impresses me in any way. It's very standard Ab 6 in every way. It's maybe vocally weaker than what I remember them, to be fair. But yeah, I think it's a pretty forgettable track, honestly, for them. Next have, last but not least, we have Ryusu Jung featuring Silo with Falling Angel. I really like this collaboration between these two. I think if you listen to the EP, which is 3 songs, they really work well with each other. I was honestly surprised. Vocally, aesthetically, the lyrics are cool. The productions are work very well. It's one of these like more unexpected collaborations that make a lot of sense between two artists you didn't expect, and they do. They do a very good job, and definitely, hopefully, we'll check them out because they're both very good and they fit well with each other. Vocally, they make sense, and aesthetically, they make sense. So one of my favorite collabs in some time. This was it for January of this month. Uh, I have to say there was a lot of good music. There was a lot of stuff that I didn't particularly like. Even if I look back, probably the only song I really didn't vibe with at all was probably the G-Idol track. Everything else was fun and it was cool as far as I'm concerned. There wasn't stuff that I really hated. Yeah, this is overall a pretty good month, similar to last year, which is a good news because this is what you want. But if you ask me which one were my favorites, I would say Rise with Love 119, Lee Chan-young 1 Trillion, B1A4 with Rewind, Blooming Tiger, Amber, Yena, Triple S, Sister, I would say Demon, their pre-debut, and I would say Yu-Gi-Oh! So this, and Yushu Jung, obviously, which is the last one I talked about. These were my favorites of this month, 100%. And my least favorite was only really the G-Idol. Everything else, it was, even if I didn't love, I thought it was fine. So overall, it was a great month. Tell me what were your favorites of this month, your least favorite. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, and see you next time. Thank you for watching. Next we have Young Posse with Young Posse Up featuring NWSF Yoon, Variable Jint, and Token. This is the type of stuff I want to see from newer generation groups, daring, trying something different, like a hip hop song with actual rappers, with actual rapping from start to finish. I think this is what I want to hear, no bullshit, no nothing. Having the ability to do that, it's hard. I'm not saying it isn't, but to try it and I think do it good is very impressive. So I have to give it to Young Posse. I know a lot of people were clowning them. But I really like the way they do it. It's different and they stand out more than a lot of these groups that want to be more standard because they hope to become something that the way this, like we said multiple times, the industry is that you can't grow that much in terms of popularity anymore. But this song is very good. It's one of my favorites of February, 100%. Next is Baby Monster with Stuck Up in the Middle. Another great song by Baby Monster again. People like to talk shit, but they don't understand. That's just the reality. Baby Monster is a fantastic group. It's crazy to me that they get hated on more than groups that actually were bad in the past, like Original, ITZY, and Mix when they debuted, and stuff like that. To me, it's crazy. Or like even what they were called, I can't remember. There was another group. Like even if you think about something like Blackpink in recent year, how lacking the music has been. It's crazy that they're the ones that get hated on the most because YG, and now it's cool to hate on YG. Now it's cool to suck everybody's big hit or hype dick because this is how the industry is, and people can't actually, the community just can't think for itself, and they have to move like a beehive. But yeah, this is a great song, and I think it's a great idea to showcase them vocally more than anything else, to showcase that they can actually sing compared to a lot of the other idol groups today that cannot sing at all, and they really struggle to have any sort of presence on stage that requires an actual singing ability. Even a group like New Jeans really struggles, unfortunately. So it's great to see them really do well and be good and actually have a fan base, regardless of what people say. That means that YG still has that strength to really influence. The industry in a way where they don't have to actually shove it down your throat the same way unfortunately Hype does to a certain extent with their newer groups. Next we have DPR Arctic featuring DPR Ian with Do or Die. I've said this is a solid, club track in my opinion from start to finish. I really like the production here. I really like Ian's vocals. I think they really complement that style of like darker and very heavy bass type of production that I think Arctic was going for. It obviously, I think, samples a classic song from the mid 2010s. I could be wrong. Or it's very similar in that sense, but it's a solid track, I have to say, and I think this is where Ian can really shine. I would really like to see him in more EDM style productions with other producers and see where he can get it from there. I think he would really shine in this genre as far as I'm concerned. Next I have Twice with I Got You. I think it's a solid track overall. I like the fact that it's a little bit more Afrobeat, but it's something that Twice has done in the past in B-sides. I don't remember doing the music videos for stuff like this, but it's a solid track with decent vocals. It's definitely more upbeat, it's more fun to listen to, and it's a change of pace that I think was needed, considering the fact that at this point in their career, they have a clear idea of what they want to do, their vision and their aesthetic, so to them sometimes drive away a little bit, either right or left with it. I think it's good and keeps it fresh. Next is Super Junior LSS with Come On. Just a very fun track. Again, SM rarely makes mistakes with subunits as far as I'm concerned, and this is another great example of it. They have great chemistry, they all fit with each other very well vocally, and the song is just really fun overall to listen to, and yeah, I really like it, and it's definitely one of the more fun tracks I've heard from performances. Like I know Stray Kids did that recently. 17. I'm sorry, did that recently this year and last year. So, it's cool to see even older groups do it, and obviously, hopefully, the younger groups do it as well. Next, we have Balming Tiger with Up. The way I would describe Balming Tiger is that they are for me like the Korean Brockhampton. Not in a negative manner, but in a positive manner. Their productions are always fun. They use every member correctly. They know exactly how they work with each other and aesthetically. And so the productions are always fun, and the vocal elements are really good, and obviously the lyrics are always interesting. They're not overly standard, which I think it's good, considering how sometimes you can maybe even not like consciously tend to make the same decision lyrically that a lot of other artists do. They will go a little bit far, different in a different route than everybody. They're not the most incredible lyrics ever, but they're themselves, and that's what really matters. And in that being themselves makes them stand out more than a lot of other groups where they tend to be a little bit more standard, as I said multiple times, and be less interesting. So even if technically they have less talent, as a lot of K-pop fans would say, in reality they have more talent than 99% of the groups out there, and makes them really unique, which is cool to see in my opinion. And they have a decent success behind it as well in Korea, which is obviously good, which means Koreans even relate to their music to a certain extent, which is good, because that's what I think creatively needs, that alternative route, which is really something that's lacking there. Next we have DK from Icon with LTNS. I'm not a fan of this track personally. I think that this track really lacks an interesting production. I don't like the auto-tune, and I don't like that very standard melody, if you want to call it, or melody that people go for in the chorus that is really pop punkish and very 2000s pop. I wish they went a different route with DK, and I think this song is too standard. It's not even too standard. I don't think really fits him, and I just don't like that production. It's too simple. It's too trappy, basic trap, and again, the idea of having that type of chorus for me is not interesting, considering how much it was abused by idols at one point in 2022. Even 2021 and partially in 2023, so it's good that it's not there anymore. Next we have BB with Young Bang Bang. This is a tough song I want to see actually Bam Yang Gang, sorry, I said it the opposite way. This is a song I think BB is very good at, in my opinion. these type of songs that are very particular, that are a fusion of different like influences. I think that's where she gets her best at, when she tries to be a little bit more standard. I think in that sense she's kind of fails to, I think, be interesting to me. So even though she did all the era of like super poppy music that went super good for her, I think that was by far the least interesting era of hers. So going back to make this weirder music, yes, it doesn't hit as hard maybe in the West, but it's getting her very popular in Korea and with the Korean audiences, which I think is good. That's where she should focus on, and then if she consequentially get more popular outside, that's the goal, in my opinion, and that's good. But if she has to, like, I think, do something less interesting, much rather do this type of music, and this is one of her more interesting singles probably in years, as far as I'm concerned. So great song, really one of the best of the year already. Next we have I Chilling with Demigod. I mean, it's just a standard I Chilling song in my opinion. The beat is solid. The chorus is definitely more enjoyable than I thought. But it's one of these songs I personally wouldn't go back to. It's just, I've heard a million of songs like this, so it's kind of harder for me to fall in love with it. But it's not a bad song by any means. Again, I Chilling is a solid group, and I think they keep being solid in every aspect. Next we have Apex with Graduation Day. I think this song by Apex is very interesting as far as I'm concerned. It has a very Japanese vibe to it. It sounds like a very from a J-pop group you would hear from. I think that, again, it's good. The vocals are there. Simple production. He does what it's supposed to do well. Overall, I really enjoyed it, and I think Apex has had, I think, a little bit of a resurgence. I thought 2023 was a little bit of a harsher year for them. I think in general, in terms of quality, but it's not even necessarily their fault as much as the fact that the overall level really raised a lot during that year or last year. So, I don't want to hate on them. I think they had overall a solid year, but compared to everybody else, they didn't really improve. And I kind of like them doing this type of stuff, change it a little bit. I know they do it in B-sides, but actually making music videos and stuff like this, I think it's important for smaller groups. It makes fans feel more connected and stuff like that. So I think keeping that simple actually works. And when you do it well and you actually execute it well, you want stuff like that. So Graduation is actually a solid song as far as I'm concerned, and I really like seeing groups doing this stuff more. Next we have P1 Harmony with Killing It. Honestly, I think it's an okay track. I don't love that bouncy production at all, if I'm honest. Also the bridge to or the pre-chorus, if you want to call it like that, it's overly generic. Even the drop is generic. But I have to say that the parts that are a little bit more standard, they're fun. They're a little like say the actual verses aspects. They're a little bit more of fun. But again, Hype has money as sorry, not Hype. I always confuse them with the other group. I always forget them. Right now I'm blanking, but I meant FNC Entertainment. FNC has money. They have a lot of money. But like for whatever reason, when it comes to their group specifically, they seem to always want to keep it simple. They never really want to overdo. They just go with the flow, which is not what they used to do really in the past. But I assume after investing a lot on different things and not going their way, they decided to keep it more standard. And in a way, there's nothing more standard than P1 Harmony in K-pop, right? So I think it's okay. It's a solid 6, but I wouldn't go back to it, honestly. Next is Vienna with DNA. Like I said before, I think Vienna really nails this pop punk element very good. She's by far the best, I think, idol who has done it in Korea, and she keeps that level overall pretty high. Her vocals suit the genre, and even though instrumentally you're not hearing the most revolutionary shit ever, at least it sounds fresh in the genre itself, and it's done in a way that it's more tasteful than like what even Chanmina did in the past, where it felt not that good as far as I'm concerned. Next we have Lim Kim with 1 million. After God knows how long, Lim Kim is back at making really good music with some really solid productions and really, really interesting and thought-provoking lyrics. This is what I want to see from her, and I'm happy. I wanted to do stuff with Jamie that it's more lighthearted and fun. But at the same time, I'm happy when Lim Kim comes back and actually makes very good music that seems to want to say something. That's very needed, and I'm surprised by the amount of Korean support. Obviously, she's really popular there, but again, it's really cool as far as I'm concerned to see her coming back to making the music that she normally can do. So go support her because she's one of the most talented artists really there. Next we have 10 from NCT with Lie With You. I think this choice of him going more like throwback in a way in terms of like aesthetics and production, this very like uh, specific style of pop music really works for him and his voice. You know, they're not trying to make him like be like an Onyu where he sings in an incredible way. So I was saying I think this style really fits him. So if they can keep doing this style, I think he'll be good going forward. And I think they should keep this level of music for him and for the other guys, which they already done with Taeyong and even Mark partially. If they can keep this level for everybody else, it'll be good. I question if they'll do it, but maybe they will. Next I have Mira with Running Up. I really enjoyed this song by Mira personally. I like the beat, I like the pace of it, I like the voices. I think everything about it is good. It's actually a very solid package by the group, and I think it's a nice change of pace artistically for them. Move on from a little bit the classic 4th generation style and do something a little bit more modern, even in a way, and more international. It's good, and I think it really fits them very good. So I'd like to see them try this style a little bit more. It's something that surprisingly really fits them, I would say, even vocally, which is something that actually a lot of groups struggle with. And I like the fact that they didn't feel the need to add an unnecessary rap part, which is very common still to this day in K-pop. Next we have We with Fake Love, and I think with Fake Love is the same thing, where they did a good job at actually doing something different, a little bit old school, 3rd generation. It's funny that I say it's old school, but it's been already almost 10 years at this point, and they deliver on it. Solid rap sections, they're not overly aggressive for no reason, and I think the rest of the members actually do a really good job. The beat is fun, it's a fun track, and it doesn't fall under that like unnecessary generalization in terms of standards of music that you tend to fall into in 2023, 2024 at this point. So it's nice to see some groups do something different and do it as good as they have been. And same thing for Mira, of course, before. It's very 3rd generation. I really enjoy it personally because it's my favorite generation actually. Next we have the Seraphim with Easy. They tried to change the style. I think it worked to a certain extent. I think the vocal element was actually really interesting. They moved on from the super hyperactive songs to do something a little more chill, more R&B-ish in a way. But the song is overly repetitive, which I think it's a problem with a lot of the Seraphim tracks, really. That over repetitiveness, even in simple aspects of the song. So as far as I'm concerned, it's okay. Definitely the chorus is the better part of the song. I just wish that there wasn't this bad habit from them to do this repeating over and over the same things, because it makes it boring. It's very TikTok. I know these songs go crazy on things like TikTok and stuff like that, but as far as I'm concerned, I would like something a little bit different. Next I have 10 with The Nightwalker. I really enjoyed this track. I think this is a good example of how to showcase I think all around the ability. As I've said a million times, I think SM is by far the best company at this historically. So to see it even in an artist like 10 is actually very good. Again, somebody's like 10 is somebody that I never thought was that important to a group, and through this song is able to showcase why is an important talent and why is a very unique talent. You know, it reminds me of Taemin a little bit, not in a negative way, but the comparisons are there definitely from an aesthetical point of view, the way they chose to even showcase the music video and stuff like that. But the song is solid, and I think it's a good introductory aspect to solo NCT artists. Hopefully they can keep this good track record specifically for NCT going forward, because I think it's very, very interesting the way they've been developing them. Next we have DK with Groovin. I think this type of tracks really fit him better, honestly. The more laid back R&B sexy style of music really sits him better. More of that weird trap style that we're going for. So vocally gets to shine more. He does a better job, and even though the song is simple, it delivers a solid track overall, which is what he's supposed to do anyway. Next we have Eimers with Somebody. Next we have Eimer with Somebody. I think this is a decent track by them. There isn't much really to say. I think it's kind of a standard Eimer in many ways. It's okay. Next we have Chan Eun-woo with Stay. I think it's a weird choice to make him do a ballad. I get why, He has the ballad image as an artist. Just don't think vocally really fits them that well, and he's somebody I think he would benefit from a Kang Daniel style of music. I think he's good enough to carry that type of style and do a good job at it. Next we have Ensign with Happy. I think I've said this already about Ensign multiple times, but I think they carry that cuter and boyish group style of music really good, and they do a good job at it in a way that it's fun, it's quirky, it's lighthearted, and they keep it very simple, which is what this style of music is supposed to be, and they do it really good. There's elements of second generation here, there's elements of fourth generation, and they fuse very very well. The production is simple, but it does what it's supposed to do, and it gives everybody a chance to showcase their ability and really get a chance to shine. So a really good job by the company, obviously, and a really good job by the guys as well, that are the main reason why this song is very good. Next we have Lee Music from B2B with Lamar. I mean, this is just an amazing vocal performance throughout. Lee Myung-sik is one of the better vocalists, I think, in K-pop history, as of all B2B, obviously. So definitely go check this album, go check this song, because it represents exactly what a great vocalist is. And I think as we're going through in the history of this genre, we're finding this type of artist to be more rare and rare every year it passes. So go check what a great singer actually does, and doesn't mimic, he's actually a great singer through and through. Next we have IU with Shopper. Um, I think it's a solid track. I think out of the ones she released, it's probably my favorite, I have to say. It's solid. I mean, the one with V is also good, but this one it's solid. I think the vocals are there, obviously. Production wise, it's solid. It's supposed to be more of a fun song that it's very Taylor Swift, very Carly Rae Jepsen in many ways, and I think she does a good job doing that style of music, specifically Carly Rae more than Taylor, and I think she does a great job at it, and vocally she fits that style very good. That pop music, the disco influence is there, and I think she does a great job at it. She tries to do a little bit more of the classic, more like mainstream pop. I think she kind of struggles with that more. Next, we have Tribe with Diamond. Overall, I think it's a decent track from them. I don't love the production as much, maybe, but I think the way they've worked around the production, especially vocally, melodically, is actually very fun and makes the song a little bit more fun to listen to and to interact with as a fan, instead of just your generic Latin style of production that then gets supported by your classic melodies that you've heard a million times. Next up, Yu-Gi-Oh! With 1 minute. I'm kinda happy he went back to this style of music. I think this style of music really fits him very good. He tried to do something a little bit different at one point, I just didn't think it worked. But this style of R&B, pop, trap, with good vocals over it, he does a very good job at it, and I think it really fits with AMG. Conceptually very good, so I would love to see him perform with Korkens and every other AMG artist like Wu and everybody else, and see what he can bring, because I think he can really be an important asset in that company. And this more fun, light-hearted style I think really fits Yu-Gi-Oh more, honestly, because we all know he's a guy who likes to have fun and chill, so that more serious image they were trying to go for, I didn't really get. Next we have Twice with Spark. I think this song is better than I Got You, to be fair. I think it just fits them better vocally, production wise, and that sped up part actually, I think in this song makes much more sense than the one they did with I Got You. The song varies a little bit more vocally. Gio has a bigger part, which I think, again, she needs to have, and everybody else gets a bigger chance to shine, where I Got You was more like classic K-pop where three or four people really sing and everybody else just supports. Here everybody gets a part, which is what Twice has really mastered, I think, in the genre, probably better than anybody else, really. Maybe Girls' Generation used to do it slightly better, but it's not that big of a gap anymore. Next we have AS with My Girl. Another just simple, groovy K-pop song, just chill, melodic, very very good vocals by Ace, an underrated group from a vocal perspective, and they deliver a solid song that it's heartfelt and sweet without having that pretentiousness of trying to do something more, and I like it. I would say IU with this song showcases a little bit of a growth. I think artistically she kind of moves on from that kind of Korea sweetheart element and aesthetic, and that she's been really going for, and she's going for now, but I think aesthetically going something different like this from a musical standpoint is very important. Not necessarily content wise, because she's always been an artist that put a lot of interesting things in her music, even lyrically. But you know, production wise, she's always been something very specific. She wants to do something a little bit darker, a little bit on the edgier side for her, still being very poppy and very mainstream without going too far on the left side. But the fact that she had the balls to do it, it's respectable. I think numbers wise, this song is obviously doing much worse than everything else, but it's not like it still has 2 million views, which is very good. Next we have I with Legit. I think this song has a problem specifically. I think it's just too much over the place. It tries to be hip hop, it tries to be pop, it tries to be a little bit of R&B, a little bit like of a club song. And when it tries to do all of these things together, they're very hard to mix in a good mix. I much rather them to focus on 1 or 2 things instead of 4 or 5. So even though these switches are not necessarily bad, I can definitely, because I've heard so much music like this, that after 4, 5, 6 listens, you kind of get tired of this type of songs and realize how actually they don't make the song better. They make it much worse a lot of the times. We have Bobby featuring Chamina with Heartless or Harmless. Sorry, not Heartless, Harmless. It's very good. Again, Bobby has opened the floodgates of just being who he is. So hard-hitting raps, really interesting productions, very heavy, very dubstep influenced, very drum and bass influenced, but still very hip hop. Chanmina finally is back and making really good features with a really good vocal performance, with presence and personality, and very good lyrics from both of the guys for what the song is. So I'm really impressed. This is one of probably the best hip hop collaborations, probably top 5, top 10 of the 2020s. So very, very good by them. Next we have Taber featuring Dean. Yes, that Dean with Chica. Very good song. And I'm happy that Dean is actually alive and he's not dead. That's the most important thing at the end of the day. Obviously, vocally they fit with each other perfectly, and they harmonize in an incredible manner on this song. The production is actually very enjoyable overall. So maybe Dean wants to make comeback and making music. That'd be great. He's still one of the biggest what ifs to me, because I think what if he kept making music when Kpop was actually growing and becoming super global? What if he became kind of like the weekend of the country and became super popular? Maybe it would have changed the history of the genre. That didn't happen, so but still a very good song nonetheless. Next we have Mont with I Don't Give a Fuck. Monty is one of the most underrated groups of recent memory. Like, they're so good and yet nobody knows who they are. Like, vocally they're there, rapping wise they're really there, and they're able to do everything at a very good level. They can do the super poppy stuff, they can do the more relaxed stuff, the love songs, the rap songs. They can do everything at least at an 8 out of 10 level, but for whatever reason they're not hitting with the audiences. I don't know why, but even this song fuses pop, rock in a way that I think no group can really do in Korea in terms of quality, and they do it. So next I have Risin with Yo-Yo. I think Risin is probably gonna be the first of many groups that are gonna try to bite that 50-50 style, and they do it solidly on this song. Don't get me wrong, the song is fun. It's actually really enjoyable listen. I think the production does a really good job making this song actually feel very light, while also having a big presence throughout the song, and the girls do a good job vocally throughout. But they are the first of many trying to copy that new jeans and that 50-50 aesthetic and going for it from now on. And I think if the quality will be like this, I'll definitely want to check it out more from other groups as well, because it'll be very interesting to see. Next I have Xin with No Doubt. I think this is their better track, or the best track they've released. First of all, it doesn't sound like a Blackpink song, but production wise it's still very generic. I still don't get why the best girl here, I always forget her name, that she can sing, she doesn't get the biggest parts in here. And I get it, but like, there's this girl who can really sing, you should use her for the really high notes parts. Instead they really don't. But song wise is their better stuff. It's a 6.5, right? If before they released 4s, for me at least, this is definitely a more of an upgrade, and I'm happy to see where they're gonna go from on right now. But it's a good song, but like nothing crazy. Next we have Beautiful Noise. I think it's his name. No, it's not. Next we have Sion with Beautiful. Oh, sorry, Flying Wings. Flying Fish. Why did I botch that 3 times in a row? But it's actually a very good song. Vocally, it's really good. It has a lot of personality. Lyrics are very, very unique, and the production is actually you don't know where it's gonna go, so it always keeps keeping you hooked, specifically throughout the first listen. And I think it's a very enjoyable listen every single time. And that chorus is very, very catchy while being very different from what you normally hear in this genre. So really good job by him. I don't know who he was, not gonna lie, but he seems to be very good. And this was it for February 2024. It took me a million years to finish this, but I was able to. So I'm gonna go through what I think are the best songs of this month for me. Obviously, Young Posse Up, Stuck in the Middle by Baby Monster. I would say Balloon Tanger Up, BB by Myung Apex. I would say definitely Lim Kim 10. With Lie With You. I would say 10 Night Walker again. I would say Ensign with Happy. Lee Myung Shik with Lamar. Yugyeom. Then Ace. Then IU. Then Bobby. And then Sion with Flying Fish. It's a pretty good month. There wasn't really stuff I didn't like, even through the stuff that I wanted to listen to. So again, 2 months in a row, but I think the genre was very good. I'm gonna obviously include both this month of January and February together, and by the end of this week, you're gonna get the half of the month of March. Tell me, guys, what your favorite songs of these 2 months, your least favorite, and the ones you're obviously more hyped for March, and the ones you really want to listen to going throughout the year and stuff like that. So thank you guys for watching. Leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, and see you next time. Goodbye.